2023 regular business board meeting of the Lower Merion Board of School Directors. This meeting is being live streamed and video recorded with sound for public broadcast. All participants joining via the webinar will need to use the chat feature, which will be made enabled during audience recognition. If you're attending this meeting in person, you should be aware that other attendees may be recording this meeting as permitted by the Sunshine Act. This means, however, that any remarks that you make, even those in the seats, may be recorded by others in the audience. We believe it's in the best interest of the district and the best interest of our students to hear comments from district residents. An opportunity will be given later in the meeting for public comment, both in person and through the chat feature. But first, we are going to start with our commendation for our National Merit students.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we honor the Lower Merion School District students who have been recognized by the National Merit Scholarship Competition. We are so proud of these outstanding students who have achieved an incredible academic milestone, demonstrating their commitment to excellence, hard work, and a quest for knowledge. Their dedication to education is not only a testament to their individual abilities, but also to the support and guidance they have received from our remarkable faculty and you, their family and friends, who have nurtured their intellectual growth. The National Merit Scholarship Program is highly competitive, and National Merit Scholarships are among the most prestigious academic awards in the country. Tonight, we recognize a combined 37 students from Harriton and Lower Merion High Schools who have been named semifinalists in this year's National Merit Scholarship Competition, and an additional 53 students that received the Commended Student designation. Our Lower Merion School District semifinalists are among approximately 16,000 semifinalists overall and will be eligible to compete for over 7,000 scholarships worth nearly $28 million. More than 95% of the semifinalists are expected to attain finalist standing, and about half of those finalists will win a National Merit Scholarship. It is our true pleasure to recognize these students and wish them all the best as they represent our district and move forward in the competition. Congratulations to the students, their teachers, and their families here tonight. And I will be turning the program over to Dr. Johnson, Lower Merion High School principal. Unfortunately, Mr. Weinstein was not able to join us this evening, but he wanted to assure everyone that it was not due to the Phillies, and there would really be very little that would keep him away from this evening's ceremonies, as they mean a great deal to him, and he recognizes the efforts of everyone in this room to make it happen. So he sends his regrets, but certainly I know has you in his heart and mind this evening. So without further ado, I turn it over to Dr. Johnson.
Thank you and good evening, everyone, and congratulations to our 2023 National Merit finalists and commended students. Ms. Schaefer stole my thunder, so I won't say what I said about Mr. Weinstein not being at the Phillies game, but he does want the Phillies to win, but he's not there, I promise. So we're going to start this evening with our Harriton Scholars. As I call your name, please come forward to receive your certificate. Paolo Agasti. Ava Anderson. Kaya Backmeyer. Molly Bluestein. Vidi Hojwani. Ariel Byron. Zachary Braunfeld. Ross Brotherson. Atticus Brown. Arnab Chowdhury. Sachin Chawla. Nidhi Chiayandera, Caitlin Chow, Joseph Sikalis, Emma Crawford, Andrew Dye, John Gallagher, Sydney Blue Garcia Yao, Justin Glozman, Kendall Goldrat, Jeremy Green, Jason Hahn, Owen Harker, Rachel Harmon, Yoon Jin, Alexander Johnson, Ariel Katz, Dahe Kim, Nicholas Leedy, Vivian Ma, Ariana McGann, Matthew Moscow, Ethan New, Avik Petty, Jonah Pestrak, Lang Chin, Milan Ramey, Matilda Reliquet, Thane Sharp, Samantha Sloan, Sloan Steinberg, Cameron Sullivan, Noah Tomfort Totes, Henry Yoon, and Chang Zhong. We will now present certificates to our Lower Merion scholars. Lila Anafi. Isabel Chapman. Alan Chen. Aiden Chinwala. Benjamin Cromer. Grant Curry. Nathan Donegai. Nathan Dresnan. Simona Fisher. Ruben Goatsman. Ava Granwetter. Nathan Grunfeld. Saram Khan. Connor Kleinman. James Corin. Amy Lee. Brendan McGrew. Luke Meyer. Leela Miller. Sasha Murray. Oliver Nickerson. Riley Noble. Liam O'Connell. Adina Olson. Diego Ordonez. Tobias Potts Drew. Ian Pulsifer. Aiden Reichman. Asher Rosenfeld. Anya Shaper. Samuel Soraya. Luke Shepard. Ina Sylvia. Anwin Underwood. Jude Vaughn. Daniel Vusug. Matthew Walters. Henry White. Gideon Wolf. Brian Yee. Margaret Yin. Lucy Zhang. And David Zhao. Another round of applause for our scholars.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Congratulations again. We are going to take a few minutes to sort of switch into to the business part of our meeting tonight. I think that we may want to take some pictures with our students. Is that correct, Ms. Buckman? Oh, never mind. So We already have your pictures. You are welcome to stay for the meeting and join us in the audience, but do not feel bad if you want to go home and watch the Phillies or do some homework or any of that. So thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your patience as we transition from our National Merit honoree designation. So I'm going to pass it on now to Ms. Megan Schaefer.
Good evening, everyone. I was about to say the obvious. For the record, I'm not Dr. Yanni, but I am filling in for him this evening, and I'm pleased to be able to give his report this evening. I know that these are words that he feels deeply, and I should have acknowledged that earlier when acknowledging the recognition of our National Merit Scholars. He likewise would, regrets he's missing this evening's recognitions, but he did want and ask that I share these words with all of you this evening. Like all of us, he's very proud of our students who have been named National Merit semifinalists and commended students that were recognized tonight. In total, as I've mentioned, we had 37 semifinalists and 53 commended students, and we congratulate all of these scholars this evening. We are pleased to share that both Harriton and Lower Merion High Schools were named to the Advanced Placement School Honor Roll. The AP School Honor Roll is a prestigious annual recognition program that celebrates schools whose AP programs have done outstanding work to welcome students into AP courses and support them on the path to college success. We congratulate both of our high schools for earning this recognition. We would also like to recognize the recommendation of Dr. Lauren Walker as the Supervisor of Student Services and Gifted Education on tonight's agenda. Dr. Walker currently serves our district as a school psychologist and was selected as a finalist candidate for the supervisory position following a rigorous interview process. Pending approval by the board, Dr. Walker will assume the role and position held by Dr. Adil Nurey, who has accepted a position outside of Lower Merion School District. And in fact, today was his last day, so we wish him well with his future endeavors. I'd also note, as far as personnel items go, Nancy Aconchia-Mesa her retirement is on this board's agenda. I bring her name to your attention because she has presented to the board a number of times. She's a supervisor, leader in our district, has been for a long period of time supervising our elementary STEM program, and she will be missed and has made a huge impact on our program, most recently with some of the project-based learning that has been exciting, and we've talked about at the board table, as well as the new STEM special that was introduced during the reimagination of our K-8 programming. So we wish her well in the future and are sad to see her leaving us. National Bullying Prevention Month is celebrated each October, and as we shared previously, our district is on a journey of belonging. The district is committed to providing a safe, supportive, and inclusive environment for all students, and we are building belonging by embracing the ideals of diversity, equity, and inclusion in all that we do. October is also National Principals Month, and the purpose of this month is to honor the dedication and hard work of school principals and to show appreciation for their contributions to the success of students, schools, and communities. So please, if you have a minute, take a moment to thank our principals for their dedication year-round. And finally, these are just a few highlights, and we know that great things are happening in Lower Merion each and every day, from classroom to athletics fields and from academic competitions to extracurriculars. We have a lot to be proud of here, and we continue to thank our entire community for their support and engagement in our schools. And that completes Dr. Yana's report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schaefer, for stepping in. We will move on to our committee reports. I am pleased to welcome our new Lower Merion High School Rep. Maya Niazi, and welcome back our Harriton High School student representative, Alessandra Simmons. If you would like to share your committee reports.
Good evening, everyone. Last week was Harriton's Homecoming Spirit Week with themes like Teacher-Student Swap, Twin Tuesday, Western, Throwback Thursday, and Neon, culminating in the Homecoming Dance on Saturday. Last Friday, seniors also got the chance to participate in a new tradition of senior jeans, with seniors bringing in and painting pairs of jeans. Harriton athletics are in full swings in October, with girls field hockey winning 3-1 on their senior night, girls soccer beating Haverford 2-1, and boys football beating New Hope Scarborough 19-3. To continue, I congratulate my peers on their academic achievement as National Merit Commended Scholars and semifinalists. And looking to the future, Hareton Theater Company will put on The Importance of Being Earnest on November 16th, 17th, and 18th. The International Baccalaureate Juniors have a retreat on October 23rd, and the 10th and 11th graders will take the PSAT on Wednesday after last week's technical difficulties. As always, thank you for your time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maya Niezi, and I'm a junior at Lower Merion High School. I'm honored to be the school representative, bringing you our news and sharing our moments of pride. Today, I start with the passing of Miss Nakamura, the Lower Merion High School Japanese teacher who passed away last month. Nakamura Sensei, or Naka, her famous nickname most of our graduate students use for her, was not one of the teachers I had the pleasure of meeting. Today, in honor of her, I share with you a couple of words from some of her students over the years. Hannah Spector, class of 2017. When I think of Nakamura Sensei, I am instantly transported to her classroom. I can feel the warmth, joy, and positivity radiating throughout her classroom, a direct reflection of her beautiful personality. I see her deep belief in each of her students, and I watch her gracefully guide students to recognize their potential. Her classroom was special. She was special. Thank you for caring for us, Nakamura Sensei. Your teachings will always be cherished. Shared by Tamrick Els, class of 2021. Miss Nakamura was a guiding light, an amazing teacher who inspired students with her energetic personality. Even after graduation, she continued to reach out to me. She encouraged me to visit Tokyo this past year, and it was an amazing experience. The impact she had on other students and myself is undeniable, and she's easily one of the best teachers in my entire educational experience. Shared by Alejandro Schaefer, class of 2023. She was the kindest teacher I had in all my years. She pushed through to teach us even when she wasn't in the best health. She truly had a passion to help us learn like no other. May she rest in peace. Now, on to some of the main events that have been taking place recently in Lower Merion. Our volleyball team raised money for breast cancer awareness by selling their Dig Pink shirts for their game on October 4th. Led by Lower Merion Student Council, Cradles to Crayons clothing drive is going strong. Cradles to Crayons provides children from birth to age of 12 who are homeless or in low-income situations with essential items they need. Donations continue to be accepted at the main entrance lobby and lower atrium until October 18th. The team will also plan a trip to the Cradles warehouse in East Falls, where they will do volunteer work. Best Buddies Dance-a-thon on October 6th was a huge success. Thank you to all those who showed up. Lower Merion's pickleball team held its first tournament for this year in the Bryant Gym on Thursday, October 12th. The Lower Merion Music Department Players and Build on Fall Fest took place last Saturday, October 14th, with food, games, and fun activities for the LM community. Our first ever Lower Merion Annual Fall Food Truck Festival was unfortunately canceled due to the weather, and the new date will hopefully be announced soon. Student Council has been coordinating some fun games and lunch and learn for our students to participate in. The digital PSATs for sophomores and juniors was canceled on October 11th due to College Board technical issues, which was unfortunate, and are now rescheduled to take place this Wednesday, October 18th. Coming up, sharing a moment of pride. We have 5 teams who have made it to the district playoffs: girls soccer, boys soccer, girls volleyball, boys cross country, and girls cross country. In addition to that, water polo competed in the small school state tournament last weekend. Football is in a position to potentially make districts. Girls tennis made districts as a team, but unfortunately fell to Wissahickon. However, they still have a team competing for the district doubles tournament. And finally, on the golf team, CG Sako made states and is competing there today and tomorrow. Go Aces! Homecoming is coming up on November 4th, taking place in the school cafeteria. Amazing Ace applications are in full-fledged. Amazing Ace is our annual talent show where contestants compete for the title of Amazing Ace and win a cash prize for the charity of their choice. The show takes place in January. Radnor Week, the week we play our rivals, Radnor, is coming up starting October 30th. Spirit teams are all busy planning merch, flyers, and more. The LM Pep Rally and Maroon and White game will take place on Friday, November 3rd. Last, but definitely not least, the Lower Merion High School Wellness Day is set for Monday, November 13th. It's a day of no classes and meant to relieve stress, maximize positive interactions, and help us come together as a school community. Thank you.
Thank you both very much for sharing what's going on at our high schools. You are welcome to stay and with us this evening, but feel free to go home as well if you so prefer. We will now move on to the board committee reports. And first on our list is the communications report. Mr. Lee.
Thank you. The Communications Committee met on September 27th and received an update on Communications Department activities and projects. Recently completed projects included photo galleries and live stream of the high school commencements, school leadership communications, communications around Dr. Yanni's appointment, multiple communications and letters around school taxes and the recently adopted tax rebates, coordination around multiple communications campaigns including Off and Away, coordination of print materials including the district calendar, coordinating or supporting multiple technology projects including the mobile app launch, the Schoology launch, and the new bus status app. Staffing support for National Night Out. Current projects in progress include coordinating Dr. Yanni's onboarding and meetings with community organizations and groups, planning communications for Lmsd Smart Start, the school start times change coming next September, creating multiple videos related to student safety and physical and mental wellness, and support for hiring and ongoing staff recruitment, especially hard to fill roles like bus drivers. A key upcoming project is the Fall Community Newsletter, which will introduce Dr. Yanni to the broader community and district residents and include helpful information around the tax rebate. The next Communications Committee meeting will be on November 29th, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Next report is the October 4th Curriculum Committee meeting report.
Thank you. The Curriculum Committee of the Board met on October 4th, and first we talked about our summer programs. The programs were successfully moved to this summer from a Monday to Friday schedule to a Monday to Thursday schedule. There were 2,012 students, which is a massive increase from what we saw 10 years ago with 716 in 2013. The programmatic topic breakdowns ended up at academic enrichment being 32%, remediation 2%, accelerated learning opportunities 46%, and support for transition at 20%. Some of summer school is virtual and some of it is a blended model with some in person and some virtual. The programmatic offerings were adjusted to accommodate the 5 to 8 transition, and the administration is currently working on an LMSD run health course to run over the summer, and we're on track to make that happen for this upcoming summer. The second presentation we had was on mental health and wellness in the district. It was a really in-depth presentation, which the full board then received an update on last week at the, or not last week, at the last meeting at the Education Committee of the full board. So I will spare you the summary there, and looking forward to see everyone next month. If I can find the button.
Thank you, Ms. Kalish. Next is the October 6th policy meeting report.
Thank you. The Policy Committee meeting took place October 6th in the regular business board meeting, boardroom, sorry. The policies that we discussed for second reading or for adoption are student athletics. The purpose of the revisions to Policy 151 were to address rule changes governing name, image, and likeness for student athletes. Our intent is to not infringe on student rights, but to ensure that that any student's name, image, or likeness agreement does not violate PIAA rules, which they have set out, or compromise their participation in our interscholastic sports. We'll be going more into this policy in the future and making some more changes. Policy 004 was read for a first reading. Actually, it's coming back for a first reading. Policy governs the process for developing and adopting policies in the district. The proposed revisions have been discussed previously at the committee level and are intended to create efficiency without sacrificing the rigor of the process. For example, streamlining non-substantive changes such as changes to nouns, usage, or job titles. 007 was discussed for a first reading. This policy and regulation address the procedures for how the board conducts public meetings, including but not limited to advertising, public comment, and agenda structure. The targeted discussion item relates to proposed start times for future meetings. Then we discussed policy 810. This policy and regulation aim to comprehensively address the scope of student transportation in LMSD. For the purpose of this initial discussion, the solicitor was asked to review the current language together with legal requirements to assist the board and public in understanding the parameters of where and how we can make adjustments that may serve to maximize both sleep and instructional time for students. We discussed policy 804, school day for students. This policy sets forth the length of the standard school day for the instruction of district students in accordance with state law and board policy. This is being adjusted to reflect the changes that will take place to start time effective September 2024. We then discussed Administrative Regulation 137, district-issued electronic devices. We're making a small adjustment to the language regarding reporting of missing or stolen devices. Specifically, the language will be expanded to include parent or guardian or staff who file a report regarding such an incident. The next policy committee meeting date is November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. And then our final committee report this evening is Ms. Schaffmeister with the Facilities and Purchasing Meeting Report.
Thank you. The Facilities and Purchasing Meeting Committee met on Thursday, October 12th at 8:30 a.m. and we discussed the following items. We recommended for approval the list of district bills. There was no purchasing report this month. There was no district contracts for review this month. We recommended for approval $9,600 for mainline school nights for a license agreement to use 40 rooms at LMHS over 8 nights from February 27th to April 30th, 2024. This is for their spring classes. We recommend for approval Presidio Managed Service Statement of Work, subject to solicitor review, in the amount of $56,395.56. This is over 3 years at $776.52 per year from starting December 1, 2023 to November 30th, 2026, and they will perform networking monitoring. We recommended for approval CDW quote for $168,192.25 to provide Lmsb with better visibility and enhanced detection ability, while also benefiting from the Secure Work Security Operations Center providing 24/7 network security monitoring and response. There were no Black Rock Middle School changes or orders this month. As the Black Rock Middle School update, the remaining completion of work includes the lighting control system installer continues to repair system problems and replace defective devices such as occupancy sensors. The punch list works is ongoing to replace dead trees before the seasonal window for planting trees closes. The cost to date, including all disputed claims and an $11,800 credit from Gessler for unused contract allowances, the total project cost is $105,922,125, which is higher than the projected cost at the time of contract award, but less than the original construction estimate. The approval of change orders on the construction project to date equal $5,246,768. 90% of these change orders result from 4 main causes, 42% from additional work related to soil excavation and site preparation, 21% omission or errors made by subconsultants, 17% omissions or errors made by the architectural firm, and 10% requested made by Lmsb. For community comments, there were no comments. We had no community members attend this meeting. The next Facilities and Purchasing meeting will be November 16th at 8:30 a.m. in the Administration Building Boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schaffmeister. Moving along on our agenda, we have no additional agenda items to add on this evening, so we will move into the audience recognition. At this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak at tonight's meeting and have not signed up with Mr. Orlando, please do so now. For those of you joining us via the webinar, the chat feature will now open, and you will see a 10-minute timer appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and/or questions via the chat feature. Please be sure to begin with your full name and where you reside within the district in order for your comment to be shared, and that is true both for in-person comment and comments via the webinar. I'll wait a moment as individuals sign up to speak.
May I ask a question while we're waiting? On one of the hiring documents, there's somebody listed as Robert Copeland. Is that the same Robert Copeland? Okay, thank you. That's all I was curious about.
Alicia Barron, Wilson Chang, and Iram Sonjai.
Bringing flashbacks. Hi, my name is Allison Barron. I'm from Narberth. Thank you for letting us speak. I'm going to look at my notes. So I'm here to comment on full day K, obviously. My family moved here in 2021 from the city, and we moved here for this school district and the reputation. When I started getting involved in the push for full day K, I only had 2 kids, the oldest of who was only 3. Now that oldest child is going into kindergarten in 2024, and I also have a 3rd child. So it's been a couple of years and a lot has happened. We were all thrilled to hear that the board had voted to look into implementing full day K for 2024, and I'm here to comment on 2 aspects of that. First, when the board voted to implement full day K, we were thrilled. But I believe, and many of my fellow parents of young children believe, that we were misled, that really it was like a vote to look into implementing full day K in 2024, and it wasn't a commitment. My heart sank because it seemed that such a late vote. So we learned that the vote was going to that you would all be discussing it again in March of 2024. That such a late timeline really meant a delay for full day K. I don't mean to assume, but that's just what it seemed. Is it actually going to happen in 2024? With no disrespect to the board, is this just a way to delay bad news? If so, please let us know sooner. We need to make plans. Of course, we do want full day K to happen, but how is it possible for parents to make decisions as late as March? Some of us need to make alternate options, like sending them to private K or figure out aftercare. Thank you. Secondly, I just want to reiterate the importance of full day K. I'm a psychology professor at Temple, so I consider myself to be somewhat of an expert on childhood development. Beyond the importance of just early childhood education, routine is so important. And without full day K, so many of our students are like having erratic schedules, going half day on one day, being bused multiple times. Sometimes they're going to a completely other institution just for a year. So I just want to again remind everyone that the decision you make greatly impacts our lives, but more importantly, it impacts the lives of our children. Please commit to voting to implement full day K in 2024 sooner, hopefully by the end of this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Barron.
Hey, everyone. Good evening. First, I'd like to acknowledge what's going on in Israel and say my family's thoughts and prayers with our neighbors. I have a question for the school board.
I'm
The
sorry,
email
could
that went
you-
out today about the cultural proficiency lessons.
Excuse me, could you please just say your name and where you live?
Oh,
reside in
John
the district?
Balakin. Sorry. My question is to the school board. The email about the cultural proficiency lesson today.
Excuse me, sir. We need you to say your name and where you live in the district before you provide your public comment.
Wilson Chan Balakinwood.
Thank you.
Okay. So my question is, the email that went out today, does that mean the cultural proficiency lessons will be integrated into the entire curriculum? Is that correct? That's a question?
You need to make your comments and then they'll answer questions. Make your comments and then they'll answer questions when you're finished.
So that's what it seemed like from the email. I just don't understand why the school board insists on jamming this curriculum down everyone's throat, and why families who don't want to be involved in this, why won't you just leave us alone? I do not want my children involved in this. I don't know why you insist on making us participate in this. I assure you that not everyone has the same beliefs you have and not the same values you have. I don't understand why you think that we all agree with what you all agree with. Obviously, you're all in lockstep because you're all Democrats, right? So you all have the same views, which is blatantly obvious to the people of the school district. Why won't you just leave us alone? Just teach our children the basics of what we need. They're our kids, not yours. Stop trying to put your values into our children. I am absolutely appalled at what's going on here. I cannot believe what I'm saying, which I've sent plenty of emails to you as a group, and I've received no response. I'd also like to remind you that equity is not an American value. Equality is. There's a huge difference between the two, which is why you have made no progress in your achievement gap between groups in this district. Is that correct? I mean, I look at the data, I see the meetings, right? So you have your DEI initiative and things haven't gotten better. No one's surprised about that. Anyway, I would just like to remind the parents in the school district that elections are coming up, and make sure you vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Iram Shujat, and I've been a Lower Merion parent for as long as I remember. I'm from Wynwood, Pennsylvania. The first thing you notice as soon as you enter any of the school building in Lower Merion is there is no hate. And unfortunately, for the past 1 week, as much as we are trying to say there is no hate, the kids who are not like part of that, like I understand that there are a lot of kids who are affected like immediately because of their families, but the kids who have got nothing to do with it, they're feeling very vulnerable. I have a child who goes here. She has anxiety issues, and I'm very thankful because the counselors and everybody has been so amazing with them. But now she has not been coming to school since Friday again. She's like, I feel vulnerable even if somebody doesn't say anything to me. I feel because of my religion, they're like judging me. So those emails which have been, okay, there was 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, that's perfect. nobody's denying it. Nobody denies if something happens or if innocent is hurt or something. But instead of just making it feel like we all are in together, because when I moved here, we were treated as family. This is my third child in the school. But suddenly, if we feel like we were always like a hand, but now like we are feeling like we are a finger which nobody needs. So if my daughter says suddenly doesn't feel comfortable coming to the school, the Friday emails, everything which was coming, she's like, what if I go there and they will think, oh, here's the one child who's coming here because we got email regarding so and so. What is that poor child got to do? There are very innocent children here who don't actually know exactly a lot of things. They just go through what they're told within 2 minutes of news or 3 minutes of news. So instead of just saying that, okay, just stand by this at the third day or fourth day, or even tomorrow, you can just write, we do not support any violence, and whoever innocence is crushed in the middle, we are with them. So that will actually make all of us like a family again. It's not fair with us also, because again, I told you when we moved here, and then after 2-3 years we were trying to move to a house, I said I don't want to leave the school district because it has always treated us like family. But once you moved a family member to corner that you're on timeout, how will they feel like one? And they will. It's not fair. And when we send the emails, instead of just generic emails reply, you can just tell them, we'll make sure that your child is not affected, and we'll make sure the others one are not affected. We do not want any party to be affected. So just don't single us out. It just doesn't mean like fair. I know I just have 30 seconds, but you know how the fear of everybody has gone to. I was dropping my daughter in New York, and just some random bunch of kids just accidentally tripped me. And I was scared, like, do they know I'm Muslim? That's why they tripped me. Maybe it was not. It must have been nothing. But we don't want anything like that, please, in the school area. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anam Khan, Bayista Khan, and Ben Myers.
Anam Khan, Balakinwin. Good evening, respected board members. First, I'd like to reiterate and emphasize Mr. Chung's comments that we've seen the effects that these statements that Mr. Yanni has emailed have had on our children. Our elementary, intermediate, and high schools are not meant to be political battlegrounds, nor are educators, faculty, and administrators meant to make biased, one-sided declarations in time like these. Our district and schools are tasked with the education and care of a diverse student population, whether that's Jewish, Muslim, atheist, you name it, all the religions. Superintendent Yanni especially has the duty to approach times like these thoughtfully and steadfastly, not rashly and reactively, especially when it's clear that there hasn't been care taken to understand the nuanced, complex, and long-lasting political conflict. So we come here before you as Lower Merion School District parents who are deeply concerned about the messaging Superintendent Yanni's 3 separate emails have caused. These statements were one-sided and failed to address the Palestinian students who have family in Palestine, who have been impacted by these violent attacks as well. Mr. Yanni has repeatedly only shown in the email specifically concern to Israel and ignored the plight of the Palestinians who are being killed by the Israeli regime. It's just a fact. Especially concerning was the last email where he implicated Hamas's mobilization, which subtly implicated Hamas with Palestinian civilians who are caught in the middle of this war. This email created a false sense of fear and anxiety within the entire community. He talked about security measures, the police. Oh my gosh, like Hamas is going to come to Lmsb, right? Anyways, by now, we know what the fear-mongering words by public bodies have consequences, and we all know that. You've probably heard of the murder that just happened yesterday to a Palestinian child named Vadia. I want to bring light to what disinformation and fear-mongering from messaging like Mr. Yanni's has the potential to bring about. Vadia, pictured here, a 6-year-old Palestinian American kid. He's a boy who loved his family, soccer and basketball. Wadia had turned 6 years old a few weeks before. So, sorry, I was looking at the time. He paid the price for the atmosphere of hate that we are seeing here in the United States.
Ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bayista Khan. I live in Narberth, and I am again here on the behalf of the superintendent's emails. My main concern about the emails is not only is it one-sided, it's also the generic response we got instead of a personal response. And instead of, having some understanding, we condone what happened to the Israelis by Hamas. We are not supporting Hamas in any case. I have Jewish neighbors. My kids are best friends with them. So I understand what they went through. But on the flip side, I'm also heard that as a Muslim, I don't feel safe anymore. I don't feel like my kids are safe anymore with all the news coming out, which is very one-sided. I don't want the repetition of what happened after 9/11 to the Muslims in this country. I don't want my hijabi friends to start keeping pepper sprays in their bags just because they are wearing hijabs so that their hijabs will be pulled off. I wear hijab too when I go to the mosque. It's what we are supposed to do. And I just don't feel safe anymore. My friend was saying that we need to start, standing outside when our kids are playing with other kids, just so that we are very visibly Muslims. Even if I'm not wearing a hijab, you can see from the color of my skin, I am different, right? My kids can be identified too. And I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want the emails to address both sides, not just one side. I want them to know that hate of any kind will not be tolerated, like anti-Semitism will not be tolerated, and Islamophobia will not be tolerated either. I think you just saw the boy that got killed yesterday. My son is 7-year-old. That boy was 6-year-old. It really hit home. And I just don't want the people who are Islamophobes to just get one excuse. They just need one excuse to start killing again or start hate crimes again. And I just hope that the superintendent hears us and sends an email that's neutral, that is that shares both sides, and just to be recognized as, humans having equal rights here and a safe space. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ben Meyer from Penn Win. I have 4 kids, older kids that went through, including one tonight, and two young twins on the way. So it's a great school district, and we're very lucky to be here. So I'm supportive of building this is about the fields. I'm supportive of building the BRMS fields as was originally drawn by your very capable facilities department. I had met with Mr. Lill and his capable staff. It was a while ago, must have been 6 years ago, roughly. And 4.5 years ago, Lower Merion Township approved knocking down the Claremont Mansion in addition to changing steep slope laws and allowing cutting down trees over at the BRMS site. You funded the school, $140 million. It's beautiful. I've taken a little tour. It's state of the art. but clearly doesn't have enough fields for the kids that are going there. I understand the idea of the well-intentioned environmental folks looking for alternatives, but they neglect to consider all the bus traffic that will result. Has anyone here ever followed a bus across town at rush hour? And each bus creates a small traffic jam in its wake. And those folks have also failed to consider the time it takes to get home. Penguin Elementary School kids, athletes already get home the latest when they go to middle school of anyone in the district. I ask you to realize it's been 4.5 years since the kids have had, and the kids have real needs. My own son, again, who was up here, their ultimate Frisbee team frequently has to scrounge for fields due to lack of space around town for these fields. The Sedgley fields that are used in Philly for some of their tournaments may be changing to football, so those fields might be not available anymore. It's been 4.5 years. Does LMT, Lower Merion Township, have any ideas that are closer to Bryn Mawr Middle School than the property you folks bought? When you did buy the properties, the town was well aware, when they approved the tear down, that which sports needed to be played. They were aware that you had bought this property or were about to buy it. They knew that, all of this stuff was known 4.5 years ago. Trees can be replanted. Even in front of Penguin Elementary School near me, in the front of Penguin, there's plenty of room for compensatory trees. You don't need to feel guilty about using the fields for sports you bought. The world cuts down 500 old-growth trees per second. Okay? The change to the environment, if it would be, it's not measurable. It would be below the threshold for any kind of global measurement. So please work with Lower Merion Township. Stand up for the kids' Title IX rights. They do need the fields, not longer commutes. It's been 4.5 years, and I'm asking you and your leaders to be a little more aggressive in using the fields you bought, since they are so close to Bryn Mawr, to BRMS. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That concludes the in-person.
Thank you, Mr. Orlando. Mr. Riss, could you please share the comments via chat?
Yes. First comment is from Dr. Pam Pojamovsky, McDonald, Wynwood. I want to endorse full-day kindergarten and was hoping that this would be done for fall 2024. Please keep working towards this. Thank you. Next, Dina Yaski of Wynwood. I'm commenting tonight to remind the board and administration of the absolute necessity to institute full-day kindergarten in the school district for next year. As a member of the full-day kindergarten committee, I have seen that the logistical, space, and facilities issues can be addressed and solved for next year if they are prioritized and given accesses to the financial and personnel resources they deserve. Additional time is not needed if we get to work and earmark the funds. As a parent of a current kindergartner this year, I've also seen how 2.5 hours of instruction a day is simply not enough. In the last week alone, I have received emails from Dr. McGloin about the wonderful learning opportunities available to my son, in addition to foundations, reading, math, science, social, emotional learning, gym, and library at least. As an educator myself, I know it's impossible to give the diverse group of students the time they need to learn it all. The lack of time to provide repeated practice, small group intervention, reteaching, and extension contributes to achievement gaps and exacerbates the need for remediation and support services that would not be necessary given proper instructional time in the school day. I want our young learners to have the time to learn, explore, play together more than 15 minutes a day, and begin their time in our district with confidence. Full-day kindergarten can accomplish this and is long overdue. Make it happen for next year. Greg Peppel, Narberth. I'm concerned about the lack of commitment to full-day kindergarten. It's time to start talking about, quote, if it will happen, end quote, and start talking about, quote, how to make it happen, end quote. We're looking for certainty for our families and stability for our kids. The logistical challenges held up as excuses have been resolved by virtually every other school district in our state. It is possible to enact full-day kindergarten and possible to do it quickly, but it requires full-throated commitment without excuses or hedging. Next, Miriam Vinci, Balakinwood. Last spring, the board voted unanimously in support of full-day kindergarten, targeting a September 2024 implementation. I am urging the board to continue doing the necessary work to make this a reality. It is crucial that our youngest learners have access to full-day kindergarten as soon as possible, especially given how the pandemic has robbed these youngest learners of social and academic opportunities. Please make a decision to make this a reality in 2024 as soon as possible, given registration for many private kindergartens must happen by December. Thank you. Next is Indira Gurabhagavatuchula of Bryn Mawr, of Penn Sleep Medicine physician. Thank you for your work on later start times. Just writing a quick note to indicate full support of this important policy change, which aligns with the recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics, American Academy of Sleep Medicine, CDC, and numerous other professional organizations. Delaying start times for high school students is required to allow them sufficient sleep, given their biological drive for later sleep onset and wake-up times. Student sleep health must be a priority to support their academic performance, mental and physical health and safety. Please continue your work to ensure that this change occurs successfully in fall 2024. Katie Duboff, Ardmore. I join many other parents in asking for a clear timeline on the implementation of universal full-day kindergarten. The community was led to believe this would start in September 2024, and now we are hearing a final decision won't be announced until March. This is far too late for parents to plan for their children. Please do not delay. We need full-day kindergarten in this district and ask for your support to keep this as a top priority and make it happen in September 2024. And the final comment, virtual comment, is Jill Altschuler, Marion Station. There has been a palpable silence ever since the horrific attacks began in Israel over a week ago, including in this school community. I would urge everyone to read Mark Levy's article in the Marionite, the Lower Marion High School student newspaper, for some good insight into what this feels like. Dr. Yanni issued a statement, yes, but since then, what has there been? If the district does nothing else, you should at the very least use this as an opportunity to provide resources for our educators and counselors to first educate themselves on how to lead a conversation on this specific horrific situation. It does no justice to any of our kids to be silent. There are a wealth of objective, unbiased resources available. It's not too late, ever, to educate our staff in order to do justice to our kids. That concludes the comments.
Thank you, Mr. Roos.
I'd like to offer some responses and reflections to the comments this evening, some of which are just drawing upon what Dr. Yanni shared during last week's meeting. I apologize. To start around full-day kindergarten, we recognize that as an administrative team, it is a priority for us. It's a priority for the board. It's something that we, are constantly talking about, considering. There are some important factors that are in front of us, namely the enrollment study, the Montgomery County Planning Commission enrollment study that was referenced last meeting, and we anticipate a presentation in November. That will give us updated data. We are concerned with some of the data that we saw this year around first grade, and I think it's critical that we receive an updated report this year so that we can make sure that we're planning in accordance with, again, the most updated projections that we can have available to us. The other major factor, although there are many, we talked about facilities, we talked about staffing, and there's a price tag to all of this. And there's also a budget that we have, to plan for, and the cost of full-day kindergarten is significant. And when we look at that and align that with the other opportunities and staffing and programs that we have for our children and for our community, we have to sometimes make decisions about how we sustain everything all at once. And so I hope that there is understanding and ideally some appreciation for the complexity of those potential trade-offs. And so it takes a lot of internal discussion and conversation and review of programming to make maybe difficult decisions around that budget piece. So again, our update around the enrollment report is due in November, and we think that will give us some better insight to inform not only the administration, the board, and the community about how things are progressing at that time. So we don't anticipate that there is no communication between now and March. In fact, we think and hope to update the community as we move along and know more as we close in on those enrollment numbers, as well as the budget implications of full-day kindergarten. So that is where we are, and again, it is a priority of ours and is continuously in front of us on a regular basis as an administrative team. Regarding the other comments that were made this evening, and certainly ones that we, as an administrative team, and on behalf of Dr. Yanni, though I'm sure he would like to be here to address them directly, because my experience is, and what I've seen is that when he does receive questions or comments directed at him, he does respond personally and uniquely to those inquiries. So if I'm not able to satisfy, tonight, the questions that were raised, please do follow up with us. And as I'm sure Dr. Yanni would want to directly respond. We've talked a lot about the messaging that has gone out, and we do, as a team, communicate and endeavor to communicate with a lens of ensuring that our communications reflect our intent to create create a sense of belonging for all of our students. And we do realize that sometimes falls short. In addition to that sense of belonging, we also want to reassure our community that our buildings are safe. And again, those sort of were two of our guideposts in communicating most recently, but also over time. And I understand, and we understand that sometimes that doesn't always meet the mark for everyone. And when we do get that feedback, we reflect on the words that we use, and really want to connect with our community to make sure that those who have been impacted by our words, that we have conversations about how do we, do it differently the next time, or how do we set that path forward in a different way for you so that we can reconnect and do better the next time. So I think if anything that you take away tonight, know that's always been our intent, to ensure that belonging is felt and that safety is reinforced, but that we recognize sometimes that doesn't always meet the mark for everyone, and we regret when that occurs. And then as it relates to the cultural proficiency lessons, and I think through the same lens, our goal is to ensure that all students feel connected to our school building, and to trusted adults within our schools. And I think sometimes what the words we use create confusion, and I think that's true with cultural proficiency sometimes. And those of us that have been in the work and talking about the work for a long time have what we believe in understanding, and sometimes we need to make sure that we are conveying to all families what we mean when we say cultural proficiency is a practice and a way we think about instructing students throughout the course of any given day, and it's very difficult to separate that from a single lesson because it is connected to how we feel about our students, is that every student should feel a sense of belonging. And from an identity perspective, that means that they come to school knowing that they can be their authentic selves in school, and that is valued and respected and honored at an individual level, at a family level, and at a community level. So again, I encourage for follow-up that we have individuals available to talk more specifically about that, and we are always open to conversation because that's how we move the needle forward together as a community. And I hope that I've done Dr. Yanni justice in my remarks this evening, and again, I think he would appreciate the follow-up as well, and he will address it when he returns.
Thank you very much, Ms. Schaefer. We will now move on to the business part of our business board meeting. Prior to moving towards the consent agenda, I wanted to ask the board if there were any board members that wanted to pull any items from the agenda, and or if you had any questions or comments about any of the agenda items. So do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. So now, do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you all. Mr. Roos, can you please give a report on the Sunshine Act?
Yes, the board met in executive session on October 9th, which will be last Monday, to discuss labor relations. There was no executive session prior to tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Our upcoming board meeting dates, which are held at 8 p.m., usually in the District Administration Office boardroom, unlike this evening, are Monday, November 13th is the Education Committee and Supplementary Regular Board meeting, and then Monday, November 20th will be the regular Business Board meeting. Upcoming committee meetings will be held in the boardroom. These meetings are all live streamed. The committee meetings start at 8:30 a.m., unless otherwise noted, which the first is, which is October 25th, Wednesday. The Equity and Anti-Racism Committee will be at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Wednesday, November 1st is the Curriculum Committee meeting. Friday, November 3rd is the Policy Committee meeting. Thursday, November 16th is the Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. Those again, all at 8:30 a.m. in the boardroom. And on Wednesday, November 29th will be the next Communications Committee meeting. That is at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Upcoming community or district events. Tomorrow morning, the Inter-School Council has its hot topic on school safety and crisis management. That'll be followed on Wednesday evening, a joint committee for special education and ISC meeting on strategies to keep kids safe. That is via Zoom. And then this Sunday at 9 a.m. is the inaugural 5K and Fun Run in honor of the Sean Hughes Memorial Fund. That's at 9 a.m. here at Arnold Field. There being no further business, this meeting is concluded. Thank you.